Welcome into the show. I'm Tony Altieri. That is Riku Mukherjee, and this is DFS Jags PGA Golf Show 2022 Travelers Championship. We're a day late, Rick, but hey, I was on vacation in Palm Springs playing golf, so what can I say, right? Like, we have lives. Like, sometimes
nothing wrong with that.
I know, right? But we're excited. A week after a major, it feels like everything was pushed back. Even pricing for DraftKings was delayed almost a full day compared to when it's typically released. But it feels like everybody's kind of recovering from the hangover of the U.S. Open, which was a phenomenal watch, by the way.
Yeah, probably the event of the year, if you ask me. Probably my favorite event of the year for sure. Just a phenomenal tournament, phenomenal golf course. Coverage on TV was god awful, but that's something that I'm used to. So it is what it is. But the leaderboard was phenomenal, and there's nothing else to say about that event besides the fact that it was everything you wanted as a golf fan was available at that tournament. Good shots were rewarded. Bad shots were not rewarded. People were shooting 80s. People were shooting bogey-free rounds. It was the perfect golf course for the perfect event, and we had a deserving champion.
Yeah, I mean, the way that it played out with obviously Fitz and Zalatoris battling basically all the way through until the last putt, Scheffler stalking, watching guys basically be totally destroyed as they're coming down the leaderboard. I mean, it was pretty amazing to see just how everything unfolded. And to your point, it was extremely interesting and compelling. It's all the things that the PGA brand is built on, right? You've got this rival league that's kind of spun up, that's got a lot of buzz about it right now. We have guys defecting. But when it's all said and done, I mean, the brand that is the PGA, what we're used to seeing, the best golfers in the world, it all played out, I think, the best way possible for the PGA and for Jay Monahan. And to your point, I don't think you could have asked for anything else.
Yeah, I mean that's everything that you asked for. I could have asked for a little bit more just because of what I had on the line on that tournament. But
you did hit a winner though. I mean, you could have hit another second place like I did with Scheffler. I felt really good, and then obviously Fitz played nails, and you had him, and congratulations to you and all those holding Fitzy tickets.
Yeah, it was the most, let's just put it this way, it was the most depressing outright ticket I've ever hit in my entire golf betting career. For those who I didn't talk to personally or anything like that. With 19 holes to go, Rahm entering the 18th hole on Saturday, my DK winnings was about 300,000. I was leading the Mega Snowman, the 888. I was shipping a couple other tournaments, and I was winning about 300,000. Rahm double bogeyed 18 on Saturday, and dropped him from first to third, and that dropped my winnings going into Sunday from 300,000 to 111,000. And then after that, it was just a really, really miserable run out on Sunday. Every single one of my players shot over par except for Zalatoris in my lineup, and my winnings went from six figures to about like two maybe $1,000 or $2,000 profit, which is fine. I'll take the profit on the week, but it could have been a really nice week. And then on top of that, my lineup obviously didn't have Fitz in it. Obviously, I had Will Z in it, and if Will Z ends up winning that tournament instead of Fitz, I could have made an extra, I think maybe like 15,000-20,000 on DraftKings. Just the changing in placement points there would have bumped me up. I ended up finishing 20th in the 888, and I think if Will Z would have won instead of Fitzpatrick, I think I would have finished like 9th or 8th or something like that. So pretty big swings for me Saturday going into Sunday. But hey, man, that's DFS golf. That's what we do. It was pretty exciting on Saturday to see my lineup charging there. I was one of very few people in the tournament, in the contest. I got 6 of 6 through, and I just needed a Rom, Will Z, and Keegan Bradley 1-2-3 finish, and I would have banked money this week. But yeah, Rom just played awful on Sunday. Keegan played okay, but not great on Sunday. Will Z is the only guy I had in contention. But yeah, my outright card last week had Rom, Fitzpatrick, and Will Z all on the card. So going into Sunday, I had the top three. So I was feeling pretty good about hitting it outright. I just needed Rom to win. If Rom would have won, I would have been in really good shape because I had him in a lot of contests and a lot of lineups. So pretty tough week for me DFS wise. But yeah, you're right. I hit a 30-1 winner on Fitzpatrick. Minor consolation prize there. I'll take it, and time to move on. Try to win again this week.
Absolutely. For me, it played out similarly. Obviously, I didn't have the outright ticket on Fitz like you did. I was pulling hard for Scheffler, but obviously rooting for you because I knew it was on the line for you from a DFS perspective. To your point, it didn't play out. For me, it was compelling. It was interesting. I ended up hitting a couple things on DraftKings. I actually hit 2 tickets into the satellite Mega Millionaire, which was kind of a fluke thing that I entered. And a top 40 out of, I think it was like 1,800 people got tickets in, and I got 2 tickets. Feeling pretty good about that. But to your point, it's on to the next week. We got the Travelers from Cromwell, Connecticut. It is a course and a tournament that we're very, very familiar with. I think, Rick, this was one of the first shows that we ever did last year. This is before you became a part of it, when Mike had approached me about doing the show, and we started doing it together before we actually had you come on and do this. So this is the first repeat event from basically last year for us. So I went back and took a look at the notes, at the video. We were coming off of a DJ win the year before. Obviously, he's not here this year, but we do have the winner back. And this tournament was an exciting finish last year, right? We watched Harris English and Cam Hickok basically go, 7-8 times down the 18th fairway, which is a super difficult hole to play, but one of the most compelling tournaments and finishes of the year. Last year, it actually was a stretch of tournaments where we saw, sudden death after sudden death. And so I'm Travelers this week.
Yeah, I like this tournament. This is one of the nicer courses on tour. It's a TPC course, Donald Pete Dye design course, and it's a short course. Pretty much anyone in the field is in play. We don't necessarily see bombers win here. We've seen the likes of Kevin Streelman and Chez Reavie and these kind of guys, Jordan Spieth, who isn't the longest player in the world. Like, we've seen them win here in the past. So it's one of those courses that's a staple on the PGA Tour. We see okay fields in this event every year, but this year we have a star-studded field. I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that Connecticut's so close to Brookline, and it was just an easy commute for these guys, and then they're going to play this event and then maybe head overseas for the Open series of events there. Or is it something, I don't know, I want to get your take on this. Is it something where Jay Monahan's like, guys, we need you to play these events. Like, we need the star-studded guys out there to, show what the PGA Tour is all about. Because we got the likes of Scheffler, JT, Rory again. Like, these guys are like in and out playing every single week. And I wonder if maybe Jay Monahan is doing something behind the scenes, maybe paying them a little bit extra under the table. We don't know, obviously, but
greasing the wheels of industry, huh?
Yeah, greasing the wheels of industry that to get these guys to play, which seems like they need to get the word out there that these guys are playing, because obviously the things that are dominating the headlines nowadays in golf is the Live Tour and everyone that's defecting over there. So I like it. I'm enjoying this, and it's a little different than what we had a few weeks ago when it was a star-studded field right at the top and then a big drop-off. I think that was at the Charles Schwab Challenge or wherever that was. But this week, after the top 6 golfers, we'll get into it in a minute, there's not that much of a drop-off. There's good players in the 9K and the 8K range, and I'm loving this field, and it seems like it's a good week for players like us that are into it every single week, where there's a major hangover for other guys that are playing, that maybe they'll take a week off after a US Open or whatever. I'm not on it, man. This is a week to not be lazy. Still good money to be won on DraftKings, 100,000, 250,000 in first place. Good chance for us to win some money, man. So I'll let you talk about the course.
Yeah, you hit it off the top. It's kind of a plotter's course. Short, it's not very long. It does demand some accuracy off the tee, but there's no clear-cut recipe where it's like you have to do one thing to win. The only thing in particular that is important to mention is there is quite a bit of water on this course, and it does demand that you are fairly accurate off the tee. But if you look at, the guys who have won here and you rattle them off, Spieth, English, Ches Reavie, Streelman, like it's not like the top of the board is always winning this event. Like the cream rises to the top. Anybody has an opportunity to win at this course and to make it happen. And so I think, the key things that are important to me, things that I put into the stat model this week and should help in terms of the kinds of guys that we want to circle around, is obviously ball striking, good drives, opportunities gained, whether you're in the fairway or just off, the ability to get up and down, hit greens in regulation, and then key proximity from 150 to 175. Most of the shots, the approach shots coming into these greens are coming from those distances. And obviously, when we start talking about a shorter course, par 4 scoring becomes extremely crucial, especially when we're looking at par 4s of 400 to 450, which make up the vast majority of the par 4s on this course. And I think it's also important to recognize this field, like you touched on, it's peppered with some of the best guys. I think a lot of it has to do with the way that they've redone the schedule, the way that they moved the PGA Championship up, and they basically have a limited number of events leading up to these majors, and guys need to get their tournaments in, right? Like they've got to get competition in. And so the ability for them to do that, taking these, what would be traditionally long breaks majors, they don't have that opportunity. So it could be that, or maybe Jay is talking to these guys saying, hey, we've got to create some buzz. We've got to move forward. We got to be compelling. We have to compete with this upstart league that has basically an unlimited amount of funds to try and market who they are and steal our best players. But, you and I had kind of talked to this as it pertains to LIV, and you made a great point. The people that have basically defected over, there's been no one that is what I would call, or what you would refer to as, the future of the PGA, right? Like, we've got a bunch of guys that are very good players. We've got major winners, multiple major winners making the move, but there's nobody that's made the move or made the jump that is what I would consider one of the rising stars or super elites in the game today. Yes, Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka are absolutely super elite players, but they have not played that way in about 2 years. And so until we see the names like we had been chatting about, a Hideki, a Morikawa, a Hovland, until we see that next wave of guy make that move, essentially it feels kind of like a has-beens league. And I hate to say that, but that's the way it comes across. So, we have events like the Travelers, and to your point, is stacked from top to bottom. The 10Ks, the 8Ks, and the 9Ks are full of plays. Really good guys, very good guys that we saw play in multiple majors. It keeps the PGA top of mind and as the premium brand in golf. So I'm excited to get into the field, to jump into it. But let's go ahead and jump into the 10Ks, Rick, and take a look at who we've got this week. All right. You mentioned it. I mean, Scheffler, McIlroy, Thomas, Burns, Cantlay, Schauffele. I mean, the top of this board is inarguably the best players. You're missing a handful of guys like Rahm or Morikawa that are not here this week. But, I mean, right here, starting off with the 10Ks, you've basically got a circle on who you think is going to be your guy. It's funny enough, both Scheffler and Thomas have terrible course history here over the last 4 to 5 years. I think Thomas has missed the cut a couple of times. Scheffler hasn't finished inside the top 40. But, you've got other guys like McIlroy, Burns, Cantlay, who obviously have much better course history at this place and are coming in phenomenal form. I think Rory's probably the guy that everybody's going to circle around. But I do think that you could see quite a bit of steam around Patrick Cantlay. Nobody likes to play him in majors because, basically he's a non-factor in majors. But, in these kinds of events that demand accuracy and ball striking, this seems like it's tailor-made for the Patrick Cantlays of the world.
Yeah, let's start steaming him up right now because that's my guy up here, man. Patrick Cantlay is my play up here. I bet him outright. I got him at I think I got him at like 16-1. I'm all in on Patrick Cantlay this week. He is one of those guys that I think I've just made a decision on, that if it's a Pete Dye design course and it's not a major and it's not the Players, I think I'm just going to play him no matter what. He is the number one player in the field strokes gained total when it comes to Pete Dye design courses, TPC courses, short courses. These are the courses that Patrick Cantlay just dominates at. We know what his pedigree is. We know how good of a ball striker is. He literally just won at RBC Heritage earlier this year, which is a similar type of course, I think, to this course. And he didn't win that tournament. He almost won. He went to a playoff against Jordan Spieth. I'm sorry, he didn't win that tournament, but you know what I mean. I mean, he was right there. He should have won. So yeah, I mean, this is Patrick Cantlay. This is a spot for it to go to him, where you have the names of Scheffler, Rory, Thomas above him, and then you have the names of Sam Burns above him and Xander right below him. So I think he could potentially get squeezed a little bit here, ownership-wise, just because he just isn't the most exciting player to play in the world. Last week at the U.S. Open, I think he finished 14th, which is probably one of his better major finishes of his career. But until he actually really competes in a major, I'm just not going to play him in majors. I'm just going to stick with him in these kind of events where I think he has a really good chance of winning. He's definitely my favorite play up here. He's definitely the guy that I'm going to have the highest percent of my lineups ownership-wise. As far as even to the field goes, definitely going to be way overweight on Patrick Cantlay here. My second favorite play up here. Tough call, man. I think I want to go back to Rory. I really do, especially given his form, given his course history here and stuff like that. I feel like I might be gassed a little bit, man. The guy's been playing nonstop, like every single week for God knows how long. So the second favorite player he is tough for me, man. I mean, probably Scheffler, but he has an 11.2 price tag. Burns is a good play at 10.4. I really don't know, man. I really don't know who I want to go to after Patrick Cantlay. I'm probably going to sit here and say Rory, but I have a day and a half to change my mind here. But I'm probably going to say my second favorite player is Rory in this range.
Yeah, it's funny. I think Burns is also getting steamed up, to use your term, quite a bit. Obviously, he fell apart on Sunday in the U.S. Open, but played phenomenally basically all week up until that point. And because of the price tag, him and Patrick Cantlay at 10.4 and 10.2 seem to be the most popular guys in terms of who people are talking about in podcasts and other shows. And then in some of the ownership projections that I've seen, at least early, it's a Tuesday night, so things can change massively by the time we get to Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening. But those two guys seem like they're catching the most steam. I have a similar feeling as you with Rory. It just feels like the world has been on his shoulders now for the better part of about 2 months. And, Scotty Scheffler just gets to kind of cruise along, man, play golf, be this happy-go-lucky guy from Texas, and nobody jacks with him, and he just goes out there and does his thing. So, I mean, I love Scheffler. Again, I recognize that his course history isn't great here. The other guy that, interestingly enough,
he's also not the same player as he was last year. Come on.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, and I think that's an important point to make. Is Scotty Scheffler has elevated his game to a point where he is the best player in the world at this point in time. Every single week he is in contention, and the guy that he was last year was a good player, but not nearly the caliber that he is today. So I totally agree with you. The other guy that's interesting that I'm going to take a hard look at is Xander as well, just because you're getting that price break at $10,000 right at the bare minimum of this range. So, I'm interested to see where he ends up. Early projections, and again, just listening to people talk, he hasn't been catching the kind of steam that you would typically see him get. But again, we haven't seen Xander Schauffele win an actual golf tournament in so damn long. I don't know if it's worth making the investment in him versus a guy like Scotty Scheffler, who seems like he's in contention basically every week.
Yeah, I'm out on Xander this week, mainly because I like Cantlay right above him. And then, like we'll talk about in the next range, I really like Spieth right below him. So for me, Xander's going to get kind of squeezed out for me for sure. But yeah, just kind of echoing your point there, Scheffler is probably the best play between him, Rory, and JT up there, just because of how good he's been playing this year, and his form over the course of the last 6 months has been just phenomenal. He is a different player than he has been like the last 2 years of this tournament. So, and this course seems like it's perfect fit for him, and just something that he's phenomenal at is, those getting, at a course like this where you just kind of have to plod your way along,
Yep.
and distance is not that important, he can scramble, grind out, make pars, stuff like that. He's going to be in contention. I mean, there's just no doubt in my mind that come Sunday, we're going to be like, oh my God, there's Scotty Scheffler again at, 10% ownership within the top 5. And we're just going to be like, oh, why didn't we go all in on Scotty Scheffler again? Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the other guy that'll be interesting, again, I want to track ownership tomorrow, is Justin Thomas. Before we move on to the 9Ks, just because I think he's coming off a not so great finish at the U.S. Open, where he basically was nowhere to be seen, and he doesn't have great course history here. The couple of times he's played this event, I think he actually does have a missed cut here, and I think a lot of people are going to forget about him. So if you can get a guy like Justin Thomas, inarguably one of the best players in the world, at, I don't know, 8-9% ownership, like that's a compelling argument from an ownership theory perspective. I think people are tracking him anywhere between 10 and 12, but if he dips below, 10% ownership in some of these big tournaments, I could see myself taking Thomas just from a simple game theory perspective, trying to gain some ownership on the field.
I don't think he's going to be that low. I think in all honesty, I think he's going to be higher owned than Rory in this range. Surprisingly.
You think so? I think at the end of the day, when people look at it, just because it's like, oh man, I'm not going to play Rory, everybody's going to play him, and then everybody ends up playing him. I don't know. I feel like Justin Thomas is a forgotten man here this week.
I don't know. Maybe you might be right about that, but right now I'm seeing, on a Tuesday evening, I'm seeing 16% for Justin Thomas and 13% for Rory. So pretty close. It could go either way, but I would not be shocked if JT is the most owned person here. People love playing JT. He's just one of those guys that they just love, love the dynamic, love the demeanor and stuff like that. He's just one of those guys that's easy to root for. But I'll be out on him this week.
Yeah, I mean, if you include the team event, every guy at the top of the board here has a win this year so far. So this would be win number 2 or number 3 or number 4 for any one of these guys at the top of the board. You could make an argument to say that Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele, even though they won the team event, neither has a singles victory this year. And it would be interesting that, and again, it just makes sense that people are picking Patrick Cantlay, right? He lines up, great course history. He seems like the natural choice from this range, and he's obviously going to be the chalkiest. For you, it's Cantlay, and who was the other one you were saying? Cantlay and Rory?
I think Rory, yeah. I think I'll go back to Rory. Until he actually until he does something like miss the cut or something like that, I think I'll continue to go back to him. He's been so good. I mean, he didn't even play. He just... These tournaments, I just feel like, I don't know about how you see it, but I feel like he just leaves stuff out there. He should have won 5 times this year. He should be having the Scheffler kind of year. But he always has this round where he just leaves shots out there, and then he ends up finishing in the top 10 or the top 5 and just doesn't pull out a victory. And it gets a little frustrating with Rory at times, but I think I'm just going to go back to him. I mean, he did pull out the win a couple weeks ago at the RBC Canadian. Maybe he can do it again here.
Yep. Dropping down into the 9Ks, you mentioned it right off the spot. Jordan Spieth's probably going to be the most popular guy this week, which obviously means Xander Schauffele is probably going to go under owned right above him at $100. But this 9K range is absolutely packed with guys that are playing phenomenal golf, guys that we saw at the tops of the leaderboards here the last few weeks, very popular plays. Where do you go? Other than Spieth, where do you go here in the 9Ks?
Neiman.
Yeah, but you and I both are Neiman truthers. We can't stay away from him, right? So I feel like every week we're always touting Neiman. And don't get me wrong, he's a stud play. He obviously shit the bed at the U.S. Open last week down the stretch. But, you've got Finau, who's been playing much better. Keegan, who played very, very well last week and has been having one of his best seasons in a long time. Yeah. Kepka's an interesting one. Has he not withdrawn from this tournament yet?
No, he has. He just withdrew a couple hours ago.
Okay, so Kepka's definitely out.
Yeah.
You've got Fleetwood, who, again, when you talk about what Fleetwood does well, this course should line up perfectly for how he plays.
I actually I like Seamus Power, 9,100.
Yep, a lot of people are talking to Power this week, dude, and he seems like he might be the chalkiest guy. What about Sungjae Im? I mean, everybody was all over him last week. He misses the cut, and now nobody wants to play him.
Well, he missed the cut and his price went up $2,100. So
I know, right?
You tell me. No, I was on Sungjae last week. He was in one of my main lineups, and He obviously was the ultimate example of a chalk bust last week. He was the highest owned player on the slate. But a nice little flop lag situation here where he missed the cut last week, and his ownership might be depressed a little bit this week, especially being right below Spieth, who's going to be very popular. I don't mind the Sung Jae call. He's been all right recently. Me personally, I have my own biases, and I think I'd rather go to Spieth above him and Neiman below him, Power towards the bottom of the range. I don't really like anyone else in this range, to be honest with you. Sung Jae I can pass on. Finau I can pass on his really bad course history here. I think 3 missed cuts in a row. Keegan, coming off of an emotional week at the U.S. Open where he was like the majority crowd favorite at that tournament last week. He might have a little lag kind of situation. You can't deny how good Keegan has been playing this year.
This is a home game for Keegan, basically. I mean, we're halfway between New York and Boston here in Cromwell.
It is, and Mike, our producer, was making fun of me last week for playing Keegan, and he was in my main lineup, and he was one of the reasons why I almost won 6 figures last week. So I definitely like Keegan, but getting this price bump up to $9,400, and he's going to be probably going to be a little bit more chalkier than normal. I can easily pass on him and just go down to Seamus Power, who we like in short courses, birdie fest, situations like Pebble Beach, and other courses that he's played well at. Like he won. What did he win last year? No, he didn't win John Deere. He won Barracuda, maybe one of those tournaments. I don't remember.
I remember going into Pebble Beach. He was like one of the favorites, and then he absolutely got murdered on
Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday he fell apart at a course that he absolutely hates.
Either Spy. I can't remember which course. Monterey Point, maybe.
Monterey Point. That's where he fell apart.
Yeah, but Seamus Power, I like him at short courses where it's going to be sort of a birdie fest, and I think this week it's supposed to be soft. It's supposed to be raining like all week until like Friday, so we're definitely going to get some soft conditions. So I feel like the scoring is going to be kind of low this week. I think it could get into the high teens, maybe even -20 could win this tournament this week. So I definitely like Seamus Power in this range. So I'm gonna rank my plays here: Spieth 1. Power 2, just because of the price break, and then Neiman 3, and then all the other guys in this range I could not play, be okay with not playing, especially with the fact that I love almost everyone in the 8K range. We'll talk about that in a second, but I don't really care to go to anyone else here. Varner is a little interesting at 9,000. I feel like he's really, really close. He's made the I don't know if you guys heard in the news or not, but he's made the commitment to the PGA Tour now. I think he was going to jump over to Live, but our boy Michael Jordan talked him out of it because I guess he wears the Jordan brand, and Jordan didn't want to be associated with the Saudi Arabia league and all that stuff. So Jordan had a nice long conversation with Harry V and told them to stay on the PGA Tour, and Varner said, I'm out on the Live Tour. He's going to stay on the PGA Tour now. So I like that he has that backing from Michael Jordan, and he's close, man. We always talk about Varner blow up on Sundays, but I think he's really, really close to a win, man, on the PGA Tour, and he's one of my favorite players on the PGA Tour, so it'd be nice to see him win. But I think he'll be a close 4th for me as far as playing a player in this range.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if I'm going to pick my top 4 here, I'm with you on Spieth, just like everybody else. It's hard to imagine not playing him, especially because he is the best guy in this range. But I love Keegan, man. You made all the points that you gave about Keegan's season, how he's playing. I love him. So Keegan's probably 2 in this range for me. And then I think Neiman and Sung Jae are kind of 3, 4. I do want to see where ownership ends up with Sung Jae, and that could ultimately lean or push me that direction. But I guarantee that I'm going to have Neiman sprinkled in as well. I do like him a lot here. And again, when you're talking about a guy that needs to be good off the tee, hitting fairways, that Neiman is he's such an immaculate ball striker. So it's so hard for me not to play him each and every week, but that would be my 4 from this range.
Yeah. Ownership's pretty flat in this range, to be honest with you. Like from Spieth down to Varner, it's looking like pretty even from like 10 to 16%. So nothing really that you could, make a complete like a chalk like fade on. Spieth is obviously coming in the highest here at 16-17%, but I mean, if you like someone here and you want to go overweight on him, like if you're high on Tony Finau this week, you can easily go overweight on him because it seems like it's pretty flat, like the ownership wise. So it's a good chance to make a little stand there.
Do you think we could actually see Tommy Fleet? We thought Matthew Fitzpatrick win his first tournament ever on the PGA Tour. It happened to be a major, but maybe this is Tommy week. Finally, like he's playing better. I don't know. Like Tommy Fleetwood, it seems like this course sets up very, very well for him, right? Put the ball in the fairway, very good on approach, get a hot putter. That is, at least from my perspective, the only way that Tommy Fleetwood ever wins a golf tournament is when he's doing those things.
Yeah, he broke my heart last week, man. I had him in one of my lineups and one of my main lineups, and he just shit the bed last week. And I mean, let's be real, Matt Fitzpatrick is a way better golfer than Tommy Fleetwood. I just think just comparing their games is not fair to Matt Fitzpatrick, who is a Race to Dubai winner, multiple time winner on the DP World Tour, and we know how good of a golfer Matt Fitzpatrick is. U.S. amateur, obviously, in the States at the country club. So. Yeah, with all that being said, maybe I don't know. I don't think I could really go to him. I think I'd rather save the $100 and go to Seamus Power right there. But I could see Tommy competing here. I mean, I kind of like Tommy more on difficult tracks, but last week was a difficult track and he played absolutely terrible. So I don't know. I think I'm out on Tommy this week, which is not something I usually say because he's one of my favorite golfers. But 9,200 on Tommy is a little risky, to be honest with you.
Yeah, if you compare him to the guys that we're about to get into in the 8Ks, it feels like maybe Tommy might have been a bit of a misprice, and some of the guys that we're looking at in the 8K range could be guys that should be priced in the $9,000 range. But it starts off at the top. Surprisingly enough, Davis Riley playing very, very well, yet to win a tournament. But, I mean, it seems like each and every week this dude's in contention. He's not necessarily beating on the door to win, but it's like he has been a top 10, top 15 machine. And there's been a couple close calls so far this year. Aaron Wise, Mito, Harmon, who inarguably has the best tournament history at this course, other than maybe Jordan Spieth, Webb Simpson, Leishman, Denny coming off a very strong finish, should be popular again at a course that is short, that's not going to demand a lot off of the tee. And then, of course, Keith Mitchell, Jason Day, and Jason Kokrak. Interesting $8,000 range. Obviously, we've got some guys that are going in opposing directions, with guys playing very, very hot, catching a lot of steam, and then guys like Day and Kokrak and even Leishman that seem to be falling by the wayside, maybe even live candidates here in a couple weeks. But, where do you see going here in the 8Ks, and who do you like?
Okay, so I'm out on Mitchell, Day, and Kokrak at the bottom of the range. I'm not going to play any one of those guys. I really like everyone else in this range, 8,300 and up. I can make a case for every single one of these guys to play in this week. My favorite play is going to be Davis Riley at the top. He was in my main lineup with John Rahm last week, the one that I almost won with. He had a bad weekend and just, which is understandable. I mean, that course was very tough. Saturday was impossible conditions, and he still hung in there. I think he finished like somewhere in the 20s last week at his first U.S. Open. So definitely like the way his game is setting up. The guy just mashes and hits the ball so pure that I love his game, man. If you're going to compare this course to somewhere like, I don't know, I've heard comps to Valspar and places like that on other podcasts. So that's a course that he, went to a playoff against Sam Burns earlier this year. Definitely like the setup for Davis Riley. You're not going to talk me out of someone like Mito Pereira. He's my guy that I play every single week. I know you don't like him. Brian Harmon has absolutely incredible course history here with the 5th place finish last year, an 8th to 6th before that. I just hope it's not a situation like a couple weeks ago when we saw incredible ownership on Brian Harmon at the Charles Schwab Challenge, and he just completely chalk busted and missed the cut when he was like over 30% in high dollar contest there. So I'm going to play Brian Harmon. I'll still go to him. I know I'll let you talk about Aaron Wise because that's your boy, but I definitely like him also. And then Webb Simpson, man. I mean, the guy is literally the Pete Dye less than 7,000 yards, par 70 master. And I was on him a little bit last week. He didn't make any of my main lineups, but he was in my 150 bill. I was overweight to the field on him, but he missed the cut. I don't know how he did it. He was I think it was like the 12th or 13th hole on Friday. He was well inside the cut line. He got it up to the green in 2 on a par 5 and then somehow made an 8. I have no idea how he ended up making an 8, but it's a situation where just one bad hole last week kind of sunk his week. So seeing a little bit of form return for Webb Simpson, I could see him playing well this week. And the other two guys, Denny McCarthy, a situation where he's bumped up from 6,700 last week to 8,300 this week just because of his great play. And I like it. The guy just makes every single putt on planet Earth. Absolutely the most incredible putter I've ever seen. And his irons are okay, but you just know that he's going to keep you in the game with that putter. So I don't mind playing Denny McCarthy either.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned this range is packed just like the 9K range, and it's very difficult to fade anybody. No one's going to play Leishman. Nobody's going to play Day. No one's going to play Kokrak. So there's very few people that will end up playing Keith Mitchell, even though, he has been playing much better this year. I would say this. I do love Webb Simpson as well. This is the kind of place where I think he should have success. All of the other comp courses, all the places that are being compared to this track, they have Webb Simpson's fingerprints all over them. Why not this one, right? Like, why not Webb Simpson here at the Travelers? TPC River Highlands is basically custom made for him. Again, he hasn't been great. Ultimately, for me in this range, I think what could end up swaying me is the weather. Like, if we see a clear-cut weather stack one way or another, because I think a lot of these guys, to your points, are interchangeable. If we find out like, hey, the morning wave could play a shot or two better than the afternoon wave, then I could see myself going with Mito and Harmon and Webb Simpson and fading, Leishman, McCarthy, and Aaron Wise because they do have those later tee times. So I think that's something to consider this week, and something that we've been somewhat focused on over the last few weeks here is watching the weather play out, especially in a place like the Northeast where it can change literally on a dime. But I love Aaron Wise. He won me a bet against you last week. Consequently, you'll be buying me a round of golf the next time we do play. Yep. But I do love your boy Harmon this week. To argue, I don't think it's a case, because now we've seen him basically come in super chalky and kill everyone. I can't see him doing that 2 times basically within a couple weeks. So I am also going to be playing Brian Harmon quite a bit this week. I love the early tee time, first guy out the chute on Thursday. I think that's a ripe opportunity for him to come out hot. The other guy that I'm actually going to take a chance on is Jason Day. I think if you can get him to take driver out of his hand, and if he can magic luck sack his way around the course like he has a couple of times this year, he has been playing. If you can get him at massively discounted ownership, I mean, if he comes in at like 6-7% ownership and you got him in 10% of your lineups, double the field, and he plays well, it's just a massive game theory advantage for you versus other people. But dude, you got to be able to stomach it, because it is terrible to watch. I will tell you, I had him, I can't remember, it was probably 4 or 5 weeks ago. I had him in a few lineups, and watching him, he was in the featured PGA group. Dude, it was one of the most god-awful, terrible rounds. He's slow. He misses greens. He duffs shots. He hits. I mean, dude, it is agonizing to watch him play when he's in your DFS lineup.
Yeah, I'm not playing him. He sucks. he's so bad, man. I followed him around Torrey Pines earlier this year. He is not good.
What happened, dude?
Yeah.
Like, I swear he sold his soul to the devil. Like, just make me the best guy in the world for like a year or two, and then I'll be trashed the rest of my career. Because, dude,
I guess he got a major out of it. I guess I don't know. I don't know.
Phenomenal, dude. He was like the man, and then was nobody overnight.
Yeah, it happened pretty quickly to him and Ricky Fowler both.
Oh, your boy Fowler. He's in the field this week.
I know. We'll get to him. I agree with everything you said. I like the Webb call. I think me and you are pretty high on Webb this week.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna rank my plays here, Riley number 1 for sure. He's gonna be my highest owned guy in this range. Second, I'm probably going to say Brian Harmon. And then third, I will probably say Webb Simpson is my favorite play. He's not going to be highly owned. I like him as a nice little spot to get overweight on him. So, I think those are my 3 favorite plays. But like I said, I like everyone up here from 8,300 and above. I'll definitely have some of all these guys in my lineups. Ownership, as far as right now, seems pretty flat-ish, I guess. Looking like It looking like most of the ownership is just kind of flooding towards Riley, Wise, and Mito and Harmon right now, and then the other guys are just kind of lower owned. So that makes a little bit of sense. But I think by the end of the week, by the time lock comes around, I think between McCarthy up to Riley is going to be pretty even or pretty flat, and then the low owned pivots in this range are going to be Day, Mitchell, and Kokrak. So if you want to make a stand there and go overweight on one of those guys, you'll definitely be a little different.
Yeah, I'm right in line with you on the top four. I might have them arranged a little bit different order, but Riley, Wise, Mito, and Harmon are inarguably the best guys in this range. And again, you and I are both super high on Simpson, so not to repeat any of that stuff over and over again, but I do think it's worth mentioning that there's a reason why we like these guys, and the fact that Webb's not coming in at 15 to 20% ownership, I think is a good sign. He's also in that morning wave on Thursday, so I always like guys first out of the chute on Thursday. I feel like it's the course prime condition. And if you can get out, it just seems like the weather and the wind always pick up in the afternoons, and getting out of there first and posting a good score gives you an advantage over everybody else in the field.
Yeah, a little early look at the weather this week. It doesn't look like the winds are going to be an issue. It looks like winds are going to be pretty calm and, standard throughout the whole week. Like I said, it's raining like right now, and it's going to be raining like all day tomorrow, and then maybe even into Thursday morning. So Thursday morning, guys are definitely going to get the nicest conditions, I think, with the softest and stuff like that. But I really, really don't think there's going to be a wave advantage this week. Obviously, things could change by tomorrow. But yeah, if there's no wave advantage, the guys that we always like are the early morning guys on Thursday, which in this range, it looks like Riley, Mito, Harmon, Webb, like those are the guys that we're going to want to go to in this range.
It gets a little bit trickier as we drop down into the 7,000s. We've still got good names here, names that were at the top of the leaderboard here last week at the U.S. Open, and guys that have been catching steam all year. It's a strong $7,000 range. Like, this is the $7,000 range we typically see in better tournaments. And it's funny to say that the Travelers is one of the better fields that we've seen all year, but you've got guys like Siwoo Kim and Dahlman coming off of a top 10 at the US Open. Mav McNeely, again, when you talk about short courses, ball striking, putting the ball in the fairway, greens and regulation, that is Mav McNeely to a T. Our boy Cam Davis is in this range. CT Pan, who was everybody's darling here a few weeks ago. Kevin Streelman, up until, last year, was the best course history guy. Everybody played him last year. I bet him to win as well, and he missed the cut last year, like fluky, crazy madness. Neesmith is another guy, played well here. I think he had a second place finish here a year or two ago at this course as well too. So this is a good range. A lot of plotters, guys that we think can contend and have an opportunity to win, all the way down to even your boy Ricky Fowler at the min $7,000 range. But who do you like in the 7Ks? Give me your top three guys and the reasons why you like the guys in this range.
So the number one guy I like in this range, I'm going to end up probably fully fading just because all the ownership seems to be flocking toward him this week. Seems like a pretty easy situation to fade him is going to be Brendan Steele at 7,700.
Yep.
Everyone seems to be wanting to play him this week. He's been really, really good recently, good form. Ball striking has been great. I get the love for him, but he's coming in close to like 21% ownership. And in a situation where I'm trying to win a GPP, I think that's kind of an easy fade for me. I think for me, I'd rather at that same exact price play Joel Diamond. Joel Diamond, he played really well last week. He really showed me something. He was just peppering greens in regulation all week last week. I don't know if it's going to be a situation where he's a little, tired or a little exhausted from last week, but if we're going to give me Brendan Steele and Joel Damon is about 1/3 of the ownership, I'd rather play Joel Damon. But I think my favorite play overall from this range is going to be right at the top, Brendan Todd. This guy, when it comes to short courses, plotter courses. I really like him. He's been playing really, really well recently. If you remember a couple years ago, I think it was a couple years ago, the year the DJ won, Brendan Todd was the leader going into the back nine that year, and back nine on Sunday. So he just kind of choked a little bit. I think he duffed a couple into the bunker or something like that. I don't remember, but DJ stormed back and won that tournament. So obviously he has good history here. Definitely like him in this situation at this course, especially with a chalky Brendan Steele right below him. Don't get me wrong, I really love Brendan Steele this week. I'm probably going to play him in like my cash lineup, like if I play like heads up or three-way tournaments or anything like that. So he's probably going to definitely be in that lineup. But in the GPP where he's going to come in super, super highly owned, I'm going to fade that probably. So I like Todd up there. I like Damon at 7,700. I'm out on Mag McNeely, man. This guy, he keeps getting these buzzes and these steams from people in the industry, but he just sucks, man. I mean, he just can't. He doesn't have a finish better than like 30th place in the last like 6 months.
I know.
I'm out on him, man. I'd rather much play KH Lee right below him, who's like a TPC course master, and Siwoo Kim is a peak DI master right below him, defending champ Harris English, who made the cut last week at the US Open. Actually showed me something a little bit last week. I'd much rather play those guys than Maverick McNeely. Everybody talks about how good Maverick McNeely is, how good he is, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, this guy is not that good. He just does not, finish well in tournaments. So rather go to those guys right below him. But yeah, like you said, our boy at 7,500, teeing off 7:15 in the morning, Cam Davis. Love that play. He is so good at shorter courses, and he's also really good at peak die courses. So I definitely like him at 7,500. He's going to be coming in super low owned. I'm seeing like 6% right now, so definitely going to be over the weight on Cam Davis in that range. So for me, I think it's in the upper 7K range. My favorite play is going to be Brendan Todd. Second favorite play is going to be Cam Davis, and third favorite play outside of Brendan Steele, who's going to be the cash game play, is probably going to be Joel Damon at 7,700. Do you have any thoughts about any of these upper 7K guys?
I mean, I love Damon the same way that you do. I like that his game sets up perfectly. We watched him finish well at the U.S. Open. I think he's going to be super chalky, but I do like Damon a lot. I think like you, Brendan Steele's just getting talked up everywhere, and rightfully so. He's got phenomenal course history. He's been playing extremely well. He's got a number of top 10 finishes here coming into this event, so I totally get it. I like Siwoo Kim here. With you basically get the boom or bust with Siwoo Kim, but I love him there. Love the Cam Davis call. And I'm also not afraid to go back to a guy like Kevin Kisner. You talk about a plotter's course, the course where length is not going to be one of the course's major defenses. Kisner seems to set up well. It seems like every other year he's either finishing in the top 15 or missing the cut at this tournament. So since last year he finished 5th, he's probably going to miss the cut, but I will have some Kisner sprinkled in into my lineup.
Why is he still on the PGA Tour, by the way?
You know what? So Kisner is heavily involved, like with he represents the golfers. He's the voice of the golfers in negotiating with the PGA Tour. So when they do it's not collective bargaining, but when they get together and talk about what the players should get and the players committees, those things, he's heavily involved in those kind of things, kind of like Charlie Hoffman is. So I think because of those commitments, I think he probably is not a guy. And the other is, I don't think the Liv has extended him shit. What Kevin Kisner brings nothing to the table to me if I'm Liv, right? Like,
yeah, but what does Charles Schwartzel bring to the table at Liv?
At least Charles has won a major. Like Kisner's what's Kisner's claim to fame? Like he's kind of a dick. Like he got beat by the Barstool guys. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't gone to the Live Tour. But yeah, I don't mind that Kisner call. This is one of the 5 courses a year that he has potential to top 5 at. So yeah, I like that call. Not bad.
The other 2 guys that I did want to mention before we jump down to the 6Ks or before we go beyond this range that I also like, Mac Hughes coming in very good form. He has played well at this course. I think he's made 4 out of his last 5 cuts here. So I like Mac Hughes. The other guy, even though he's never played this event before, but again, all the narrative things that we talked about, your Indian brother, Aaron Rai. Like I like Aaron Rai a lot as well too. When you talk about putting the ball in the fairway, greens and regulations, I don't think he has a kind of game where he can win this tournament, but I do think that he can play well. And if you're playing DraftKings, and you're grabbing guys at $7,400, you want a lot of made cut equity. And to me, at least from my perspective, the stats, He ranks 6th in good drives. He's 14th in opportunities gained. He's 17th in fairways. Like that seems like a good rep. If I'm playing guys like Webb Simpson and Brendan Todd and Joel Damon, Aaron Rye does a lot of the same things. And so I like the aspect of playing a guy at $7,400. To me, that gives me a lot of made cut equity.
Yeah, I like Aaron Rye too. I think his TD Green game has been pretty good, but like you, I don't know if he has winning upside.
Yep.
Like some other guys in this range that I think have winning upside. I think Luke List has winning upside. I think
absolutely.
I think someone like who else here? Emiliano Grillo, who at 7,100, who's been playing well recently. I think he has winning upside. Some of these guys, Sepp Straka has winning upside. I just don't think Aaron Rye has that winning upside yet. He's won on the European Tour, but I don't know if he is good enough to win on the PGA Tour. We'll see. Maybe if he gets rid of one of his gloves, he could win. But this guy wears 2 gloves when he plays,
or the iron head covers. One of those,
or the iron head covers. Yeah. But yeah, just the names to name the names of the guys I like below 7,500. I do like Aaron Rye. I'll definitely have him in my GPP lineups. I like Lahiri. I like all the Indian guys here. Rye, Lahiri, Tigala. Those are my boys right here in the low 7K range. I like Grillo, like I just said. Nick Hardy's been playing good golf recently. I like him. Alex Smalley's been playing good golf recently. I like him. If we're going to talk about a short plotters kind of course, Stuart Sink comes to mind. He won the RBC Heritage last year at 7,000. I like those guys, but I think I'm out on everyone else here. CT Pan, I don't know what's going on with him. He withdrew at the last tournament. He's been playing good recently, but the withdrawal kind of scares me. He never gave a real reason for it. But if he burns me this week, he burns me. But I'm out on him. I'm out on. I'm not going to play Streelman in my DFS lineups. I did bet him just in case, but he kind of sucks recently, so just a bet. And I'm out on Fowler. I'm out on all these other guys. Adam Long is a little interesting. I see that down here he's the best in your overall model. I think he's the best in this whole range, right? Except for Brendan Steele. And Brendan Todd, so it looks like he's like the 3rd best player in the overall in your model in this range. I definitely will play some Adam Long for sure.
Yeah, Long ranks inside the top 10 in fairways gain, par 4 scoring, good drives. So again, the same recipe that I mentioned for Aaron Rye. Adam Long scores fairly highly in all those statistical models. He's got a couple top 25s here, and he's coming in a decent form. He's made 2 out of his last 3 cuts. So Long is a guy that I like. The other guy to at least throw it out there, even though his form as of late's been trash since he's won, is JJ Spawn. Spawn's got a decent track record here. He's made a bunch of cuts. And again, he ranks inside the top 20 in that those key statistics that I threw out there: fairways gain, proximity from 150 to 175, and good drive. So JJ Spawn, I would not be surprised to see him play well, at least making the cut. And when we're talking about guys at $7,000, like I said, when you get below $7,500, you want somebody to make the cut. And I think Spawn has the kind of game at this course from a course fit perspective where I think he can provide some equity and some stability way down the board. But your boy Fowler, not playing him. He's trash. Like I just am surprised he hasn't made the announcement that he's going to the Live Tour yet. Like, I don't know what's holding him up.
I think he makes a shit ton of money from his sponsors, man. I think he's pretty well set for life now. And I don't know. I think he would lose all his sponsorship if he ended up going over there. But he is a big name, man. If he went over there, he would definitely garner a lot of attention, a lot of money. So who knows? Could be home issues. I mean, he's a dad now, and he lives this cushy life in Florida, shooting commercials all the time and stuff like that. So I don't know.
But shit, if he's only got to play 8 tournaments a year, he's got more time to hang out and fish and spend time with the wife and kids. I mean, if they're going to pay, Phil $200 million, they got to be willing to give Ricky $100 million.
Yeah. Yeah, let's move on to the 6K. Before we move on to the 6K, the one sneaky play I had in the 7K, and he's overall a pretty trash player, is Cameron Champ at 7,200.
I love Champ this week. I will be betting Champ this week.
Yeah, I don't mind playing some Champ at 7,200. I think that's a pretty fair price. He's been kind of trash recently, but he's one of those guys that also has winning upsides and tends to just pop at tournaments randomly and just win them magically. So, one of those guys that's a boomer bust player.
Yeah, especially on a short course with a lot of water. I can't remember where we saw him last win. Was it in Detroit that he won that tournament?
No, it was the one in Minnesota.
Yeah,
The
he
three
won the
of the
tournament in
3 of.
Minnesota. And if you look at the setup of that 18th hole, it's almost identical to the 18th at Cromwell. It sets up exactly the same. So I love the champ call. He'll be on my betting card this week as well. Getting down to the 6Ks, this is the one area where, dude, if you got to go below like $6,600, it is terrible. I mean, the options below, like from 65 and under, it gets super rough, super fast. And I think based off of the way that most people are talking about lineup constructions, you should not have to go down here. You can see that really there really isn't much to be excited about below $6,500. But just to do the game and name names, right? Everybody saw Callum Tarrant, play well at the U.S. Open here for a couple rounds. Bryce Garnett is a guy at these shorter courses. He's not very long, but he puts the ball in the fairway. He's got very good around the green game. So even if he does miss on approach, he's usually able to get it up and down. But your boy Stalding's at the top of this at 6,900. He's interesting. Glover and Smotherman. Smotherman, the stats love Smotherman. He just hits fairways, greens regulation. You just can't putt. But if you're looking for a guy to make the putt at $6,800, that's the guy you should play. You should play Austin Smotherman. Don't play anybody else. Johnson has great course history, but he's also 156 years old, so I will not be playing him. Other than that, the only other guy that I'll probably take some darts on down here, Malnati, Plotter's course, could see him playing well. And then my boy Lipsky. Like I play Lipsky almost every single week, so I'm not going to stop playing him. And again, what I think about the names down here, would it surprise me if David Lipsky won a PGA Tour event? Yes, but he's won before on the DP World Tour, and I think he's got the kind of game where he should be able to contend. But I like Lipsky down here probably of all the guys. But Glover and Smotherman, the two guys I'll probably end up playing if I have to. Everybody else I'm kind of weary of.
Okay. Unlike you, I actually like some names below 6,500 and below. I'm going to definitely be clicking on a couple names down here. You might throw up a little in your mouth here and there, but I'll lead it off with Hayden Buckley. I like him this week, man. He played really well last week at the U.S. Open. He had a pretty bad Sunday, I think it was. I think he shot like 78 or something on Sunday, but he was in contention for a good portion of the week. I could go back to him. This is the name that's going to make you throw up a little in your mouth, and it's going to be Charlie Hoffman at 6,500.
I thought for sure you were going to go to your boy at 6,400. I'll let you get there. No, I'll let you get down there, but go ahead and with Hoffman.
Oh, I'm going to go to him next. Don't worry. So Charlie Hoffman, 6,500. The guy has phenomenal course history here, and he's actually made 2 out of his last 3 cuts. He's actually looking like he's turning around the ball striking a little bit. You do not have to convince me to play some Charlie Hoffman. I literally played the guy every single week last year on DFS, and I have a thing for Charlie Hoffman. If he's going to show me a little bit of life at 6,500, where all I need him to do is make the cut, maybe he's finally got over his injury situation and stuff like that. So I definitely am going to sprinkle some Charlie Hoffman on him. No one's going to own him or anything like that. So I think I might even sprinkle a little bet on him. He's on my betting card right now, but I think I saw like a 300-1 on him earlier today. So Charlie Hoffman. But yeah, 6,400. I'm definitely going to go back to him, man. Chris Gotterup. This guy is so effing good, man. I cannot get enough of him. Yes, he played his first tournament a couple weeks ago, and he was super, super nervous. Whatever the situation is when he missed the cut, but the dude made the cut at the U.S. Open last week. I mean, come on. Why not go back to him? He is so good. He is not the type of golfer that's like a Norman Zhang, like these. He's not like that type of, even though Norman Zhang won on the Corn Ferry Tour last week, but he's not that guy where he needs to grind on the Corn Ferry Tour. This guy is a PGA Tour player, and he is the Haskins Award winner. He's the best college player in the country. I am going back to Chris Gotterup here at 6,400. I think it's a good situation to go back to him. The guy literally made the cut in a major last week, and I will take that this week in a much weaker field. I don't really have anyone else below 6,500 here that I like. Taylor Moore at 6,300 is a little intriguing. Bill Haas at 6,100, who just makes cut after cut every single week. A little bit interesting, but I'm probably not going to really play those guys. But yeah, definitely below 6,500, my plays are going to be Buckley, Hoffman, and Gotterup. Above 6,500, My favorite play here is going to be David Lipsky at 6,700, just like you. I think it's a good situation to go back to him after he burned everyone when he was priced 7,200 a couple weeks ago and missed the cut. And he was super, super chalky. So his price gets bumped down to 6,700. He's been playing really good golf. I'm not going to be deterred by a missed cut at a tough course at the where I don't remember where that was, RBC Canadian or something like that a couple weeks ago. So I'm not going to be mad at that. I will go back to him at 6,700. I'll play a little Kramer Hickok just because of how well he played here last year. He hasn't been playing that good recently, but I'll take a shot at him at 6,700. And other than that, EVR withdrew at 6,900, so don't play him. I don't mind Lucas Glover, like you said. I don't mind Austin Smotherman, like you said. John Ha has been turning things around recently. I don't mind
Johnny
him.
question marks. Yeah, I like
Johnny
him as
question
well.
marks. Danny Willett has been playing decently recently. Don't mind him. Scott Stallings at the top is okay. These are just kind of names, just little sprinkles on. But I think my heaviest owned guys in this range, if you're going to go down here, are going to be Lipsky 1. I'm gonna go heavy on Goddard this week. Goddard's my boy. I'm gonna go heavy on him. He's my number 2 play this week. And my third favorite play in this range is probably gonna be Lucas Glover at 6,800.
The only 2 guys that I'll throw into the mix that I will have in my DFS pools this week, just based solely on course history and really nothing else, are going to be Hank Lebioda and Tyler Duncan. T-Dunks ranks out pretty highly in the model. It's because he's made 4 straight cuts here. And if you look, he's got, I think, 2 out of his last 3 cuts he's made, along with a top 15 at the Charles Schwab. So T-Dunks will be in some lineups. And then Hammer and Hank Lebioda. He had a T5 here last year, I believe, and he's coming off a top 30 finish at the RBC Canadian. So I'll have Lebioda and Duncan mixed into my player pool this week. But why don't we go ahead and jump into Rick? I don't have a card yet. Like I said, I'm just got back from vacation, so I haven't even looked at the odds. But I do like your card, dude. I like it. It's concise. A lot of the guys we talked about in the DFS pool, and you've got some pretty solid numbers just based off of the preliminary research that I've done. The Spieth number is fantastic. The lowest number, or I should say the highest number I can find on him right now is 20. So that's a really good number. And then both the Mito and the Wise numbers at 50 are strong. Dahlman, you've got it at 100. I've seen him as low at 65 at some places. So good card.
Yeah, I'm excited about this card. I got a little extra money in the bankroll last week from the Fitzpatrick cash, so I will be sprinkling those bets on on my card here. My highest unit play is going to be Patrick Cantlay at 14-1. Yeah, I got the Spieth number. I love it at 25-1. Riley, Wise, Harmon, Mito, everyone there in the 8K range that we talked about earlier. I love all those guys. I think the winner is going to come from one of those 4 guys, to be completely honest with you, if it's not Cantlay or Spieth. And then for my bombs here, love Brendan Todd, love Joel Damon, Cam Davis, Kevin Streelman, and Kramer Hickok at 280-1. So those are my bombs there. Those are my main plays on the left. I think I have room for a little bit more here if I wanted to, just because I got a little bit of extra cash. I'll definitely put a little sprinkle on Charlie Hoffman at 300-1. And then I don't know if there's anyone else I really want to play in the middle there. Maybe Seamus Power. I saw I think I saw a 40 on him or something earlier this week. So maybe a little click on Seamus, but I might just wait and see how the tournament's turning out and maybe put a live bet in on Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, it's a strong card. A lot of the same guys that you had earmarked, I'm looking at as well too. I'll card out on Twitter at DFS Jags. So that way it'll be out there for folks to look at. But I think I'm going to have a lot of similar plays to you this week. I think that's pretty much going to do it for us, Rick. I appreciate your time, man. Like I said, I apologize. I'm not as well prepared this week as I usually am, just because
it's all right, man.
Man.
Major hangover week. It's all right. It's still a good chance for us to make some money, and we'll be back at it next week for the John Deere, I think, and the Live event next week in Portland, Oregon. We should make a trip up to Portland and go to that event next week.
I know we should. It's like I mean, I think the flight's 3 hours. We can fly up there, watch. I don't think they sell tickets. I think they just give them away. So I don't think you have to buy anything. You just show up. You might even be able to carry somebody's bag for the week.
Yeah, maybe let's see who would let me carry their bag. I don't know. Henny Duplessis, maybe he would let me carry his bag. Actually, he's rich now.
Of all the names to throw out, you throw out the most difficult one to pronounce. That's what I'm impressed with.
The guy's a millionaire now, man. He won second place in the first Live event.
Dude,
exciting week last week at the US Open, Travelers Championship this week. I'm excited, ready to build some lineups tomorrow and get it going. Hopefully we can hit a big cash this week, which I wasn't able to do last week, and hopefully one of us can hit a winner on the outright card.
Yeah, I'm excited. I need a winner. I'm tired of second places. I think I've got like 10 of them this year. But I think we're going to have very similar guys on both our cards. So maybe if you hit a winner, I'll hit a winner. And then, of course, I'm excited for the satellite event. I'll be one of 40 people in that event. So excited to see how that turns out. Remember to
what do you win if you win that? You win a mega ticket or millionaire?
I believe it's a mega ticket if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
So it's a pretty nice little prize if we can put it together. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't even looked at my DraftKings to see where the tournament is, but I'm sure it'll be telling me where I need to fill my lineups out this week. So
nice.
Anyways, I appreciate everybody's time, Rick. Thanks again, man. As always, good stuff. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the Nickel City Mafia channel. Shoot Rick and I a message on Twitter or on Instagram, and we will be happy to get back to you. Good luck this week. And to quote you, Rick, let's hit a winner.
Let's do it.